Hey guys, Ed here. After a very long time, I'm bringing you the Super Soldier Deku. I know. It has been ages since I last uploaded anything. But as you may assume, work has meddles into my affair once again. And took one of my days off, leaving me with a single day to do everything. I'll just say it. It's a pain in my ass. Damn these new kids that don't want to work and then quitting whenever they want, expecting high dollar without doing anything whatsoever. Yeah. So again, I do apologize, but my videos won't be heavily edited anymore because of it. So all I can do is edit the audio. Probably adding a background music, hopefully uploading more than usual. But with that said, I've left you hanging for way too long. Now, let's get into it.
Fearless.
Where I last left off, after Aizawa's second quirk apprehension test, Izuku went to get some lunch. Little did Izuku know that as soon as he entered the cafeteria, every student tried to see if the rumors were true, but Kirishima made his way telling the rest to knock it off, which seemed to work. Kirishima would say, "I hope you don't mind, but could I sit with you?" Izuku would say, "You got me out of a sticky situation. You're more than welcome to. Besides, we're classmates." Kirishima's eyes were sparkling as he would say, "Thanks. From the looks of it, you aren't much of a people person." Izuku, confused, he would say, "On the contrary, I enjoy talking with people. But I didn't expect that. It's kind of draining." Mina joining the table, she would say, "Of course it is, especially if you aren't used to it." Izuku would say, "I don't think I'll ever get used to it. It's just surreal to me. It seems to be some sort of dream, but at the same time it's not. Does it make sense?" Jiro joining the table, she would say, "It does. Same could be said on our end. We got a living legend as a classmate. That's also kind of surreal, right?" Izuku would say, "If you put it that way, I guess you're right." Ida joining as well, he would say, "I am impressed. I have never seen someone could rival me in speed." Izuku would say, "True, but I believe you're holding back. You could have beaten me if you had used that burst of speed of yours." Ida, conflicted, he would say, "Do you mean my receptor burst? If I were to use it, I would burn out so quickly, leave me unable to run at all. But how would you know about that?" Izuku would say, "Call it a hunch. I knew someone with similar features." Mina would say, "Tell us about yourself. How does it feel to live in a different time?" Izuku would say, "Well, I did see some improvements, like fast internet. I wish it was this fast back then. TVs got thinner, convenient, and you can put them anywhere. Technology is so helpful. It seems to be straight out of sci-fi." Mina pouting, knowing that that wasn't what she was asking about, she would say, "Oh, come on. I thought at least you'd say something more interesting. For example, this mystery girlfriend of yours." Before Izuku could say anything, a familiar voice was heard, as Recovery Girl would appear behind them, as she would say, "Izuku, sorry to interrupt, but there was something I would like to discuss with you in my office." Izuku would say, "Chio, good timing. I was just about done telling them how slow internet was back in the day." Recovery Girl would say, "I see. That is good to hear. Well, we should get going. In case that we take a little longer, let the next teacher know that Mr. Midoriya is with me. As Izuku left the recovery girl, Mina started to speculate. Mina would say, "Did you guys know that recovery girl's name was Chio?" Jiro would say, "Well, her name is there with her hero name, so if you look her up online, it should mention it. Why do you ask?" Mina would say, "My T-senses are tingling. Do we know if recovery girl's married?" Ida would say, "I don't think we should bother with this." Mina will say, "He knew about your special technique. Don't you want to know more?" Ida would say, "Fair point, moving on." Jiro would say, "I don't believe she's married." Mina would say, "And the two of them would have been around the same time. Not to mention how familiar Izuku acted with Recovery Girl." Jiro would say, "Wait, you don't think..." Mina would say, "I do. I think Izuku's girlfriend was indeed Recovery Girl, which would explain why he didn't want to talk about it. And now I believe Recovery Girl is making a move on Izuku." Ida would say, "That is preposterous. Recovery Girl would not try to do anything with a student." Mina smirking, she'll say, "A student? No. But her long-lost boyfriend that returned from the brink of death, making her feel young in her mind? Returned to the same time they were our age and starting getting into things." Mineta joining the table, he would say, "Do I sense some dirty talk?" Mina would say, "Yep, I think that Izuku's mystery girl is none other than Recovery Girl herself. And I think they're going at it in her office." Mineta imagined the scenario only for him to stop what he was doing and run to the trash can to vomit. As he returned to the table, he would say, "The hell's wrong with you? Why would you ship a 15-year-old young man with an 80-something-year-old woman? That's just wrong." Jiro would say, "See, even the class perv is against this idea." Mina would say, "Well, just to make sure, why did you go find out?" Jiro would say, "No, I don't want to put myself in trouble for your fantasies." Melissa would say, "I saw the perv running to the trash can and vomit. I'm assuming that the first hero told you about some gruesome war stories?" Mina, weirded out, she would say, "No. We were just speculating that his girlfriend could be Recovery Girl." Melissa would say, "That is interesting to know. Maybe I should investigate." Mineta pleading with his eyes, he would say, "Please no, I can't handle 4K resolution of them doing it." Kirishima would say, "If he isn't ready, we shouldn't force him to tell us." Melissa would say, "Fine, I'll do it myself." Jiro would say, "What gives you the right to spy on him?" Melissa would say, "Me? You were eavesdropping on the guys earlier." Mineta would say, "And you call me a perv for trying to peep on you." At that comment, the girls just pummeled Mineta for bringing that up. But they were interrupted by a phone ringing. Realizing that it belonged to Izuku, Melissa picked it up, only to see who was calling. And when she recognized the caller ID, her eyes twitched. As that was going on, we cut over to Recovery Girl's office, where Izuku and Recovery Girl were about to discuss. Recovery Girl would say, "Tell me, Izuku, if there's something bothering you, you can talk to me about it." Izuku would say, "I'm fine, Chio. Don't worry about me." Recovery Girl would say, "Says the man about to break up in tears on the moment they ask about or make you think about Nana." Izuku defeated, he would say, "Aizawa told you?" Recovery would say, no. He simply told me that a bunch of kids want to know if you were lucky with the ladies, and from there on I knew what was up. Izuku hiding his teary eyes, he would say, I was just being a little nostalgic, that's all. But I do have a question. How did she get over me? Recovery would say, oh, Izuku. She didn't. She found someone else. She had a child, but her husband died. And knowing that she couldn't do both, hero work and taking care of the child, in order to protect the child, she placed it in an orphanage, putting her duty as a hero first. She became a teacher here at UA, and she trained Toshinori, because he reminded her of you. And she sacrificed her life to what she believed in. Izuku would say, so Riko already told me this. I thought you would tell me something different. Recovery would say, Izuku, I'm not going to tell you to forget about Nana. But what I will tell you is that you need closure. And you should find new friends. And open up. All you have to do is extend a hand and others will reach out for you. As the silence between them grew louder, Recovery Girl continued. That's not all that's waiting on your mind, isn't it? Izuku would say, astute as ever, I see. Recovery Girl would say, if it's your brother, I can't change a hard-headed mule. Izuku would say, how would you know that? Recovery Girl would say, I dated him once or twice back in my youth. And don't get me started with all the things he said about you. Izuku rolling his eyes, he would say, by the sounds of it, they must have been terrible. Recovery Girl would say, I wouldn't say that. But it's not my place to tell you. You should ask him when you get the chance. Knocking could be heard, only to reveal it was All Might. All Might would say, excuse me, Recovery Girl, but my class started and we are waiting for him. Recovery Girl would say, oh, alright. Go, Izuku. Remember what I told you. Try to make friends. Start with the small stuff, work your way up. Izuku would say, thank you, Chio. As Izuku and All Might were headed to the field beta, Recovery Girl smiled as she returned to her work. Izuku got changed in the locker room and made a way to the field beta, where Kirishima handed Izuku his phone back. But All Might took longer to get there. All Might would say, sorry about that, I accidentally went to field gamma. But let's get into it. They all say that the clothes make the pros, and you're proof of it. Izuku concerned, he would say, what sort of outfits are these? All Might would say, what do you mean? I don't see a problem. Izuku would say, well, All Might, I think you need glasses because those aren't appropriate. All Might, irritated, he would say, look who's talking. You are supposed to be 75 years old. Melissa would say, what was that comment for, first hero? Izuku, annoyed, he would say, simple, Miss Shield. We are in a hero school, learning to deal with threats that should be bigger than ourselves. Am I right? Melissa would say, yeah, what's the point? Izuku would say, their outfits are mainly aesthetic, and there is barely any function or purpose. And what's worse, correct me if I'm wrong, but their outfits won't give them any protection whatsoever. All Might, clearing his throat, he would say, in any case, today's lesson will pull no punch-ins. We are going to skip a few steps ahead and the curriculum. Izuku would say, All Might, what nonsense are you pulling out of your hat this time? All Might, reading from a script, he would say, a 2v2 battle. Heroes versus villains. The heroes must retrieve a bomb set by the villains. Izuku would say, in other words, capture the flag. Got it. All Might would say, let's see who'll get teamed up and everyone grab a number. As a class, each got a number, and they were paired up. First team was paired up, and they went up against each other. Sarah and Mineta versus Koda and Todoroki. After the humiliating defeat, they returned to the monitoring room. All Might would say, "Alright, before I give my opinion, Izuku, since you have experience, what do you think about their performance?" Izuku, going into detail, he would say, "Mediocre best. The only one that did anything was Todoroki. He literally froze the entire place up with the other team inside. But then again, this team effort exercise was pointless if there was no teamwork to begin with. Therefore, I will fail them." All Might would say, "Isn't that a little harsh? I mean, they did as they were told, and the villain team won the exercise." Izuku would say, "You forget that this is a lesson. In order for them to learn, they must know what the point of the exercise is, not about winning or losing." All Might would say, "Fair point. What do you suggest?" Izuku would say, "They should go up against me. Anything goes. And if you want to make it easier on them, I have to capture the bomb." Melissa would say, "Why do you think a 19 versus 1 is a good idea?" Izuku, irritated, he would say, "Unlike you, I'm trained and I have experience." Melissa would say, "Oh, great. You have this, you have that. Now it's all about you." Izuku would say, "Look, this isn't about me. It's about you. None of you realize your own potential. There is much more of you that meets the eye, but you yourselves don't know it yet. And I know it's there, but you have to want to get it. So what will you do? Stay here and argue, or get ready?" At that comment, Bakugo was the first to go in position, followed by the rest of the class, while All Might was glaring daggers at Izuku. Izuku would say, "What's that look for? If you got something to say, just say it." All Might, putting up a facade, he would say, "I don't have nothing to say. I just was thinking from all the stories I've heard." Izuku would say, "Cut the crap. I know that you want to tell me something from the first time we met 8 months ago. Now tell me, Toshinori, are you a man or are you a boy?" All Might, continuing the facade, he would say, "I don't know what you're talking about. Besides, I think you need glasses. Can't you see for yourself?" Izuku, a little bit more seriously, he would say, "Then why don't you act like a man that you claim to be? Tell me in my face what is about me that is bothering you." All Might, dropping the facade, he would say, "Fine. When I was not a student, she always talked about you, how strong you were, fearless, selfless, inspiring, always doing what was right. But as I look at you, I don't see any of those qualities." Izuku, irritated, he would say, "You know nothing about me. You only heard stories from Nana or read them in a museum. But sometimes stories can be exaggerated. Now, if you wouldn't mind, I have the mock battle to participate, and I have to show kids the harsh reality of the world we live in, before they get seriously hurt, or worse, killed." Izuku went to get ready for the exercise at hand, leaving All Might to ponder. We cut over to Izuku in the middle of the mock city, getting ready to storm the targeted building. As soon as All Might gave the signal to start, the building was encased in ice. But that didn't stop Izuku. In fact, he used it to sneak in without being noticed. Izuku avoided Mineta's traps on the first floor. He entered from a window on the second floor. But Jiro was hearing everything. She picked up on Izuku's location, showed you Mineta and Sero, Koda, and Kirishima. They tried to capture him. But it was useless. Izuku grabbed onto Sero's tape, and he managed to wrap everyone in it, and they got captured. Not even the time for Izuku to reach the stairs, Baku finally shows up, and he wasted no time in using his gauntlets, trying to subdue Izuku, but it didn't work. Izuku managed to get behind him and knock him out. Izuku explored part of the third floor, and waiting for him were Ida, Ojiro, Izumi, Momo. Ojiro and Izumi put up more of a fight due to having some training to hand-to-hand combat. So Izuku used their lack of coordination into eliminating themselves one by one. Continuing onwards, on his way towards the stairs, he encountered Aoyama, Mina, Kaminari, Tokuyami, and Tsuyu. Izuku had a bit more of a challenge with them, but before Izuku could have a chance to get close enough, Ochako rushed in to use her ability on Izuku, but their lack of communicating skills, coordination, and quirk control caused Kaminari to electrocute everyone, leaving Kaminari standing while his teammates were down for the count. As Izuku managed to survive being electrocuted, he walked up to Kaminari only to find him in a defenseless state. Playing fight for a core kid, he got knocked out. Todoroki was waiting for him on the top of the stairs leading to the fourth floor. But no matter how much ice Todoroki used, he broke through it, and at the opportune moment, Izuku managed to get behind him and knock him out. Melissa was waiting in her iron suit, and she was ready to put Izuku in his place. She had a good start, but as time and big attacks were going on, the batteries were being consumed quickly, and the suit powered down. She came out of the suit trying something else, but Izuku knocked her out. And finally, the bomb room was Jiro. With no options left, she surrendered. All Might terminated the exercise, and Izuku returned. Izuku returning to All Might, he would say, "That sort of went well. At least some of them managed to use teamwork. But I guess I should have held back a little." All Might shocked, he would say, "You think? Hopefully you haven't scarred them for life." Izuku would say, "If these kids decide to quit after that, it just means that I was right. They aren't meant for this line of duty." All Might, he would say, "Duty? It's just a job like any other." Izuku's eye twitched as he would say, "What was that?" All Might would say, "Our jobs as hero is to fight villains, and saving people, then everyone can go home." Izuku angrily, he would say, "Jobs? Heroism is not a job. If you think for a mere second that doing the right thing is all about earning money, that makes you a hypocrite." All Might would say, "Why would it make me a hypocrite?" Izuku would say, "Then, Mr. Number One Hero, tell me, what is a hero?" All Might would say, "A hero saves the day and takes the villains into custody." Izuku, smirking, he would say, "All right, and tell me, what is a villain?" All Might would say, "The bad guy that tries to kill the hero." Izuku facepalms as he would say, "Can't you see? You preach heroism, but you know nothing of it. You made justice and turned it into a show. The city became the stage, and anyone with some sort of quirk became actors known as heroes." Would say, "I told you what heroes and villains are. What do you mean by show?" Izuku would say, "I've seen and I've heard, but I hate to admit that I'm ashamed. It's basically 63 years ago all over again. Waiting to happen." All Might confused, he would say, "I don't get it. Could you elaborate?" Izuku would say, "You don't see it, do you?" All Might, tired, he would say, "Enough of this. I'm getting tired of your wordplay." Izuku would say, "I want to believe in you, in your words. But Izumi told me you said a certain phrase, certain quotes, of which you don't even know the meaning of." "What quotes?" Izuku would say how there are a lot of stories of heroes and how they became great. They had one thing in common. As All Might was shocked, he would say, "Their bodies acted on their own?" Izuku would say, "Exactly. Funny thing about this quote is about courage and doing what needs to be done, which what heroism is all about." I said this to Nana, alongside other quotes. Do you want to know from where? Before All Might could answer, Izuku continued, "I got that from a book." All Might would say, "But it can't." Izuku would say, "Makes no sense, right? Why would someone like me have time to read books?" Like I said, All Might, you don't know me, but I know plenty about you. All Might would say, "Then tell me." Izuku would say, "You are a fake. Use quotes and words, but you don't know the meaning of them. You got no moral compass. You're just a crumbling pillar." There was a moment of silence until Izuku's phone started to ring again. Izuku would say, "That said, I'll be back. I'm going to the restroom and answering this call." Izuku left as All Might contemplated that it was when the students slowly got back on their feet, depressed on what happened. Kaminari would say, "What happened?" Jiro would say, "He defeated all of us." Kirishima would say, "Wow, that's so manly. He managed to take all of us on. No wonder they called him the one-man army." Mina would say, "Did he even put effort?" Izumi would say, "He was toying with us." Baka would say, "Next time I'll beat his face in." Izumi would say, "Don't bother, Kachan. In a 4-hour sparring session during our training, he didn't even break a sweat." Alma would say, "So, class, what did you learn?" Momo would say, "How to get our asses handed to us with no effort in about 30 minutes or less." Mineta would say, "This guy is straight up invincible. How could we ever compete? All Might, sir, can you take him on?" All Might would say, "Of course I can." Izuku returning, he would say, "Of course you can do what?" Mineta startled, he would say, "Take you on in a fight?" Izuku thought about it, as he would say, "In theory he should, but I would have to say no." All Might taking offense to that, he would say, "Explain." Izuku would say, "In strength, I'm sure you can beat me, but let's face it, you're all brawn and no brain. You're a brawler, relying on brute strength. If you had to kill a fly, you would probably grab the first thing and throw it at it." All Might irritated, he would say, "Should we test that theory?" Izuku would say, "Do you even have time to spare?" All Might, realizing about his time limit, he would say, "Well, no, class dismissed." All Might left, leaving the students with Izuku. Izumi would say, "Who was on the phone?" Izuku would say, "It was David's shield. He wanted to check up on my gear." "Who did you think it was?" Izumi would say, "I thought it would have been Grandma Hana." Izuku would say, "To be fair, Mom wouldn't have called me, knowing that I would have been in school. She would at least call it around 7. Izumi would say, "So wait, you guys talk on a regular?" Izuku would say, "Of course we do. She's my mom after all." Izumi, shocked, she would say, "Oh, I didn't know that." Izuku would say, "You didn't have to." That said, did any of you guys learn anything? Mom would say, "Yeah, we learned how to get our asses kicked. What about you?" Izuku, sighing, he would say, "If you're trying sarcasm, Miss Yairozu, it suited your grandfather a lot better. But I learned that none of you, aside from Izumi and the guy with the tail over there, have no discipline in hand-to-hand combat, and you simply rely on luck." Jiro would say, "What's the point of bringing it up?" Izuku would say, "It's called teaching, pointing out your mistakes in order for you to learn and not repeat those mistakes. But if you are interested to learn more, you guys couldn't come over and I'll give you some pointers. And that also includes with your outfits." Kirishima, with his eyes sparkling, he would say, "Does that mean we get to go to the first hero's house?" Izuku, confused, he would say, "Yes, but if you aren't up for it, it's fine either way." Kirishima, fanboying, he would say, "I would love to see your place, sir." Izuku would say, "All right then, and I told you before, don't call me sir. See me after school, that goes anyone who has to come over." Class continued as per normal. Aizawa demanded that they chose the class rep. Izuku was chosen for rep and Melissa for vice rep. School ended. Izuku was still in class, watching through the window as students ran to their freedom, as once again his mind went down memory lane, until he was brought back from it by Kirishima, saying, "So, why are we still in class? Shouldn't we be going?" Izuku, snapping back to reality, he would say, "Oh, yeah, sorry. I'm assuming that a lot of you are coming over? Let your parents know where you're going, and I need a refresher on your names." Kirishima would say, "Allow me. I'm Kirishima. Then there's Ojiro, Shoji, Sero, Kaminari, Koda, Izumi, Mina, and Ochako." Izuku would say, "All right then. Fine by me. I hope you guys don't mind if we stop by the convenience store. I need to grab a few stuff." Kirishima would say, "Sure, we don't mind." The group arrived at Izuku's house with a lot of shopping bags. Mina, exhausted, she would say, "Sir, could you have called a taxi?" Izuku would say, "I told you not to call me sir." What kind of training would it be if I were to call a taxi? Ochako, low-key using her quirk the entire way, she would say, "You've been having us carry these bags as training?" Izuku would say, "Well, a pre-training if you were. Besides, I will make something to eat before you go home." The group trained until they couldn't, and then they had a feast, which they enjoyed Izuku's cooking. As we skip to the day of the USJ, Aizawa told them to put their hero outfits on and meet them at the bus. We cut over to the girls' locker room as Mina, in La La Land, she would say, "Girls, I think I'm in love." Momo, shocked, she would say, "With who?" Izumi, annoyed, she would say, "She's probably talking about my uncle Izuku." Melissa, curious, she would say, "Why?" Mina would say, "His food was so amazing. I probably would ask him out." Momo, shocked, she would say, "Excuse me?" Melissa, angry, she would say, "You can't be serious, not with him." Jiro would say, why? So you can swoop in and date him yourself? Melissa would say, no, like I said, I hate him. Jiro would say, that's what you say, but you haven't given us any reason on why. Ochako would say, she's got a point. I, for one, wouldn't mind eating the food he makes. Do you think if he's in a relationship, would he make the bento for her? Or does he expect she would bring him a bento instead? Mina giving Melissa the look and looking at the others, she would say, I bet that deep down, Melissa has feelings for him. Melissa defensively, she would say, no, I don't. How would I have feelings for a fake? Mina would say, what is that supposed to mean? Melissa would say, he's a fake. My father's a huge fanboy of his. And my entire life, I had to deal with hearing about him, my father comparing me to him, and now I have to see him every day. It's just annoying. Mina would say, stop trying to put Izuku in a bad light. Between you and All Might, you're trying to paint him as some sort of villain. Why is that? Melissa would say, what do you mean and why? I just told you why. Mina would say, I think it's a poor excuse. Just admit the fact that your eyes, he can't be cool because that will make you admit that your father was right and you don't want to be wrong. Melissa would say, you want more? My father called him twice and didn't even call me yet. He cares more about the first hero than he does with his own daughter. Mina would say, all I'm hearing is daddy issues. If you're jealous that your dad called him, why don't you say something to your dad instead of being a prick towards Izuku? Izumi would say, enough! Could you stop it already? Tsuyu agreeing with Izumi, she would say, I think we should get ready. Meanwhile, on the boys' side, Kirishima would say, Baka bro, next time you have to come over. The training was so manly. Kaminari would say, yeah, the food was great. I'd say he'd make a fine house husband. Izuku would say, I appreciate the compliment, but I got better by cooking for my mom since I was 8. Tokiyama would say, I think next time I will join. Sarah would say, yeah, dude, you should. He has a man cave with old movies and old games. And the whole theme was retro. Izuku would say, well, why don't we continue this conversation on the bus? I mean, we don't want Aizawa to get angry at us. The students got ready and entered the bus. During the ride, the students were engaging in conversations until Kirishima asked a question. Kirishima would say, hey, Mito bro, I've seen you wear that ring around your neck. I wanted to know why. Izuku would say, well, this was the ring I got for my special someone, but as you already can put together, I never managed to. Mina would say, then give it to her. Recovery Girl was waiting for you all this time. You should just man up and confess. Izuku, very confused, he would say, you mean Chio? I don't know where you got this idea, but there's nothing going on with her. Mineta, crying tears of joy, he would say, that's a relief. You have no idea what I went through imagining it. Izuku looked at Mineta, confused, and Mina continued. Mina would say, if Recovery Girl is not the one, then who was? Jiro slapping Mina over the head, she'll say, geez, Mina, why don't you consider his feelings? He was clear that he didn't want to tell us. Why force him? Mina, recoiling from the pain, she would say, I'm sorry. Izuku would say, It's okay. She was very special to me, so I have a hard time talking about her. So if you don't mind, can we talk about something else? The students continued chatting about something else until Aizawa mentioned that they arrived. They exit the bus, and Hero 13 greet them. Hero 13 explained about the USJ and what it stands for as they entered. Izuku was surprised. Izuku would say, "You guys managed to fit a water park in this building?" 13 would say, "Sometimes during summer we like to bring the students here to do some exercise and then afterwards having some fun." But the moment the door closed, Izuku felt dread in the air. He looked around frantically until he noticed some sparks coming out from one of the lights near the door. Izuku putting his shields on, he would say, "Aizawa, we need to get the students out of here, ASAP. This place has been compromised." To be continued. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment down below. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing for more. Turn on the bell notification to be updated so you never miss a video. That said, peace out.